medieval museum. These are ceramics from the 1500s. These are tombs for the professors of the universities. Very elaborate. They're like the same as saints' tombs. Professors were held in very high regard. These are sculptures here. From one of the piazzas. Here's a tomb from a famous jurist. These are students listening to the teacher. Men of education were held in a high regard, like I just said. It's a very strange ring it's got. It looks like it'll dig into your finger. Maybe they use it for some kind of penance or something. Earrings and rings. $1500s. This is a mosaic. Icon made of mosaics. You can see how small those stones are. These crosses were erected on sites of like city squares, markets. In the 1200s, they would erect a cross on a public thoroughfare or a place of congregation. These are all from the 1200s. Yeah, this is a great room. These are ivory carvings. Here's a statue at 1300s. It's made out of copper over a wooden core. It's Pope. But it looks oriental, doesn't it? It was erected in a public square, celebration of a peace between Bologna and its neighbor. Apparently they were fighting over castles. This put an end to it. Here's some rings from the 14th century. Gigantic rings. These were the Pope's rings. He said there was... piece of stone was a mold that they used, and they pressed metal onto it and pounded the metal in and shaped the metal. So that's how they did that fine metal work. They used a little mold. Here's some letters embossed. Very clever. These are part of the Roman runes that they found. Everything's buried in underground because the debris of civilization just covers everything up. Everywhere they dig, they find some kind of Roman runes. Here's another tomb of a teacher. Here's the teacher. It's got a very serious expression. And here's the students diligently studying, using their finger to trace across the words. The professors in Bologna were held in such high regard, as high as the priests, as high as the priests and bishops, because the education was considered a gift almost, and the whole city of Bologna was involved in education and held in high regard. Here's another professor's tomb. This one's a little more stylistic. They're not all sitting with their fingers on the book, paying attention. They're at the same level as the teacher. A little more varied. Notice they're male and female. This was from a later period, but still education was held in high regard, such that they buried these professors in these elaborate tombs. And later in the 15th century, they changed the way the professors were buried. They weren't put in a big sarcophagus. They were this slab was put over their grave. But you could see he's resting on books. They use the garb of a cloak. This is still used today. The professors wear these cloaks. Here's some more professors' graves with the educational cloak, books. Bologna has the oldest university in the Western Hemisphere. We were there in a previous video. So education is a big thing around here. We were in the students' district yesterday, and it's really a big deal. Here's a professor with a little more expression on his face. Yeah, at the university section in town, a lot of activity, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of students, big student center. Looks like a good place to go to school if you want to get some Italian flavor to your education. Here's the professor lighting on his side with his books, The Grieving Angel. This is the model for Neptune in the main square. These were done in the late 1500s. Yes, late 1500s. Mercury. Look at these illustrated, illuminated manuscripts. These books are giant. All done by hand. don't know if these are printed or
No. Oh,
these are all handmade.
these are illustrated manuscripts.
Yeah, illustrated manuscripts.
In vellum.
And all vellum.
This is vellum.
Yeah, this is vellum, manuscripts on vellum. All illustrated. Hymns. They rotate all of these. Yeah, they have hundreds of them.
Get rid of all the religious crap. And so it was flooding the market.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah, Napoleon come out and he told them to get rid of all the religious stuff. So all this stuff was flooded the markets, and this one guy bought them all up. Then he donated it. After Napoleon left, he donated it to the city of Bologna. Yeah, a lot of the artwork from the churches disappeared during Napoleon. And they put them, as part of the original frescoes of this building the museum is in. Beautiful building. This is the papal rapier, 14th century. Pope gave these to distinguished people that served in his honor. So now we're into the armor of the period. This looks like the 16th century. Jeez, they actually fought with these things. Can you believe that hand-to-hand combat?
Schau, was du sehen kannst. Ich glaube, man kann es da erkennen. Guck mal hier, dass diese Hose hinten offen ist. Glaube ich jedenfalls. Oder das hinten weiter. So
Das ist keine Hose. Eine Art Riesenstulpen.
Stimmt.
Eine Art Riesenstulpen.
Stimmt.
Und
These are jousting lances. This one's broke. I see the lances. It's pretty amazing. Quite heavy. Used for jousting.
Armor used for jousting, not for war.
This is armor used for jousting, not for war. I don't know what the difference would be. I guess these breastplates would kind of deflect. Oh, maybe they rested the lance on that middle section there. Swords. Wow, look at this. Uh-huh. Training shields. Daggers go through the armor. These are Spanish swords. It's the 17th century. Fencing. More weapons meant to defeat armor. Maces. Bash somebody in the head with one of those. God. They're trying to get inside the armor and pull it. Look at the maces here. Pretty wicked stuff. These are all ceremonial. The papal guards. Here's some firearms. They started using gunpowder like in the beginning of the 14th century, the guy was saying. Oh my God, look at all this.
This is sort of
Complicated works here. They look overcomplicated to me. Yikes. Never saw such complicated works.
Based on the wheel system. The bullet was rammed into the barrel using a rod, while the gunpowder was placed into the central pan placed above the wheel. Subsequently, the wheel was wound up using a small key, and the hammer tipped with the flint was held by the cogwheel. Pressing the trigger freed the wheel, which rubbed against the flint. Sparks fired the gunpowder and shoot out the bullet.
So they had a spring that they wound up. Then they had a little wheel going against the flint. I guess the flints weren't very good then. Maybe that's why they needed all that wheel motion. We found a industrial photography exhibition. Really good photography. From Harry Gurryard. There was also an exhibition of industrial company books, industrial photos from company reports, so forth. That was interesting. Giant flea market. Giant flea market. Clothes, shoes. It's all piazzas. It's full of it. I mean, I never saw so many clothes. Look how far it goes. Bargain basement stuff. Last year's styles.
Look at this. This is very, very stylish.
Stylish?
Yeah, they're very funky, very stylish.
€8. Then they take this down every night. Pack it all up, come back tomorrow, put it up again. This guy's got a little pickup trucks back there.